Prepare yourself for List Off, the gaming podcast where your hosts, Brian and Ryan, rank the things they love. 3, 2, 1, List Off!
This week, are you suffering from FOMO? Do you frequently lament your backlog? Well, then this episode is for you, because we are talking about our mission report for this month and the problem of too many games. How's it going, Ryan?
Good, Brian. How are you doing?
I'm good, but I'm suffering from the fact that there are too many games out there and what that does to a gamer. It's a serious condition, and I really wanted to invest some time into talking about it.
So, obviously I get to talk about what I've been playing first, but it sounds like you're handling your backlog pretty well from what we've been messaging off air. But we'll get to that. It's a lot of foreshadowing.
We will. I'm very excited.
Yeah.
So you and I were talking offline a bit, and we need to have more of the space themed puns.
Yeah.
Because we are list off. So right there's a pun, and we have our mission reports. We have our debrief.
Which now is just debrief, not mission debrief.
Yes.
Because it was like we were going on too many missions, you know?
We're
only two people. Yeah.
Sometimes we just need to debrief and call it a day.
Just take it right off. Sorry.
There's oh my gosh, Duke Nukem for GBA. I don't know if you ever played that one, but if you beat it, which I did, there was a whole joke about debrief, of course, with Duke Nukem.
Of course.
And like, that's the only thing I think about when we're talking about our debriefing.
You are the king of GBA ports.
Dude, like this one was pretty good.
But what'd you say? You always bring up these like Killer Instinct on the GBA, and, Duke Nukem on the GBA. Like everybody else just playing this on the console of the era, and you're like, no, man, I played it on the GBA.
GBA is where it's at.
Cool.
So yeah, the debrief there. But whenever we're talking about what we've been playing, we need a term for that. And you came up with something good. Do you want to introduce our listeners to that one?
Sure. Yeah. So when we're talking about what we've been playing, it will be our pre-flight checklist.
Yes.
Right.
Beautiful.
So fasten your seatbelts while I talk about Elden Ring.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm going to put on my oxygen mask because this is going to be a big one.
It's actually not going to be that big. I beat Elden Ring, Brian.
Okay.
Yeah, I did it.
You use a Harry Potter build?
Yes.
Okay.
Aloha Mora.
Okay.
Was my favorite. No, I used a faith build. I did not shift so you can respec. There's a point in the game where you could respec everything, and I debated it. There are some OP builds floating around out there, and I was having a lot of trouble with one of the optional bosses, who I will now go back and defeat. I did not end up defeating, but that doesn't matter. I beat the game. You can't take that away from me. Without respecing, use the faith build the whole time, faith strength, mostly faith, really leaning hard towards faith. And man, wow, what an experience, what a game. I don't want to talk too much about it, but I will say it's highly enjoyable the entire way through. It never stopped appreciating the fact that if you run into a roadblock, you can go somewhere else. And this optional boss that I still haven't defeated is a perfect example of that. I think, so it's weird. The counter on my PS5, you know how it counts gameplay time?
Mm-hmm.
The counter on my PS5 had it clocked at like 59 hours, I want to say 50 something hours. But the in-game clock had it clocked at 71 hours. So I'm not sure.
That's quite the gulf.
It is a huge gulf, which makes me think, are there other games that have that sort of gulf on them, have that gap? Because that is a 20-hour gap potentially. And I mean, if it was 51, it's a 20-hour gap, but yeah.
I wonder if it records, like, do you ever put it into standby or rest mode?
No, I never did.
Okay.
So I would say it's probably closer to the 71-hour mark, which it's actually, I think, not that bad for making it through the entire game. It's taking longer than that from what I hear from a lot of people who do a lot more of the optional things and this and that. But
Yeah.
I was level 137, which was actually under leveled for beating the game, and I was able to
Wow.
make it through the final boss. I will say there is a hard ramp in difficulty for that final boss.
Really?
Yes. So be prepared for that. I don't think that's a spoiler, like,
Sure.
you know, but yeah, I mean, yeah, guess what? Souls games are hard, so be prepared for that. So there you go. If you consider that a spoiler, then whoops. But man, I have such an unpopular opinion on this game.
Are you dancing around something, or
I am
Okay.
dancing around something, and I'm just going to say it because I think I am going to be hated by a lot of people for saying it. The Demon Souls remake is still my favorite Souls game. Like,
Really?
yeah, I think.
So what is it that is elevating that?
Visually, I think look, this game, Elden Ring, looks great at times, but it never touches what that Demon Souls remake looks like. Never.
I mean, that's very clear just looking at screenshots and gameplay.
Right. There are parts where it's like, oh yeah, like you could see they really tried to put some detail on the castles and on the ramparts there and the banners and blah, blah, blah. Never touches what that Demon Souls remake was able to achieve. But I'm not like shallow to say only graphics. I do think there is merit in a more streamlined experience. I do think there is merit that Demon Souls is vague, like all Souls games are, but it's maybe the least vague. Like, as far as where to go, you have only so many options.
Sure.
As far as items, there are fewer than a lot of the other Souls games. And I feel like Elden Ring is daunting. It's huge. There is so much that I did not do in this game. And there's probably so much that I didn't even know I could do in this game. I could easily pick this back up and immediately keep playing my playthrough, because you don't have to go into your new game plus. And I probably have 100 hours of content left in it, which is great.
Wow.
I mean, if you're looking for value for your money and you love open world games, no brainer. But that's kind of crazy that I put 71 hours into it, and I feel like I've seen the world, like all parts of it, the map, but there's just so much there and so much hidden and so much that's you have to infer yourself to go find. And I want to do those things. I love the lore. I love all of it, but like, I just can't. And it kind of fits into the topic this month. So maybe I'll save some of that conversation for then. But
that was going to be my question, because I fell into a similar rut. Was that the game that you've been playing?
That's that. Yeah, I mean, I played some more Mario Kart 8 Deluxe with the expansion. My son, I mentioned he loves Pokemon last week. Pokemon Let's Go. He's really into playing it with my wife will play it and let him catch the Pokemon and everything, and it's so cool, man. I like just sitting on the couch and watching them play a video game. It's a really nice experience for me, and it makes me really happy to see my son enjoying it so much.
That's cool.
Yeah. He's gone on like Pokemon adventures where he'll like dress up and take his backpack, and my wife has the Pokeballs that the cards are in. So he'll like go around the neighborhood and like pretend he's catching Pokemon and stuff.
Nice.
Oh man, brings a smile to my face.
Sweet. That sounds fun. I haven't done anything with my son for game stuff, but I don't know what it would be. But I feel like some Nintendo game is a good starting point for
Mario Kart too, because he could do it with the auto turn,
assist, and
the automatic acceleration and everything.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Well, I also fell into a similar problem. And again, with the theme of our episode being too many games and what do we do about that? Because I've been talking about Horizon Forbidden West over and over again, and I've sunk, I think it was 35 hours into it. I was saving the final mission for when I felt like I wanted to kind of put a bow on it.
Right.
And, I've been picking up side quests and enjoying that world and loving every minute of it.
Throwing out bows.
I did the final mission. What's that?
Throwing out bows? Like selling them for pennies?
Exactly. Yes. One of the worst things I've ever done. But I did beat the final mission, and I really enjoyed that final gauntlet, basically. There's a lot of cool stuff that happens. It's very cinematic. There's a lot of like movie flavor to it, which I found pretty interesting.
Cool.
And yeah, so obviously I'm not going to do any spoilers, but this game has me interested in like what's next. So I obviously can't say anything to that, but I want to experience more of what Horizon has to offer. And I think this game did a successful job of saying there is more to explore in the world of Horizon, the franchise itself. And I think they have something to kind of spring forward with more of that. So awesome game. I really am looking forward to when you get around to playing it, because I think it has a lot of merit. And that all is to say that I beat this game and I put a bow on it because I had to get to Tunic.
Oh,
I
nice.
played some Tunic a couple weeks ago. I mentioned kind of the beginnings of that.
Mhm.
But then I started playing more and getting deeper into it, and I was like, I gotta tie things up with Horizon before I delve all the way into Tunic. So I did that, and man, oh man, Tunic is a game. It's a game I love. I really, really love Tunic. So I have beat Tunic.
You've beaten it.
I have beaten it.
Wow.
And I can't talk about anything. And I can't
Wow.
even talk about what it means to beat it. But let's just say I have beat it, but there's more to do.
Wow.
So this game
And it makes
needs
you
to be,
just, not to interrupt you, it makes you want to do the more, right?
so
Or are you
it's
going to
complicated.
put a bow on it?
Well, I'm not smart enough to do the more is
Oh,
the
wow.
problem without
Wow.
using a guide. So
Mhm.
I did this whole game without a guide. I didn't look at anything, and that's the best way to experience this game.
Yeah.
Don't look at anything, just play the
Yeah.
game, and
Yeah.
like don't even listen to what I'm saying right now. Just go and play Tunic. It's on Game Pass.
Yeah.
But this game has so much to love. It is a beautiful looking game. I mentioned last time that there's an instruction manual,
Mhm.
and that's part of the allure of it. Is you're playing, you're getting pieces of this instruction manual that is right out of The Legend of Zelda for
Oh,
NES.
cool.
Same kind of illustration, same kind of just like the whole flavor of it is
Right.
that NES manual, and it's in a different language, so you can't understand anything, but it is so rich with things that are like helping you figure out this game, because it tells you nothing. This game just starts and you don't know what you're doing, and you don't know what you can do, and you don't know what you are supposed to do. And it harkens back to those games of old where you really did just, you didn't have the internet, you couldn't look things up, you just had to play and experience it and figure it out for yourself. And I'm proud to say that I did that, but now I'm at the point where there is more to do, and I was beating my head against the wall trying to understand what it was I was supposed to do. Could not for the life of me figure it out. I spent a couple hours like, I am stuck. Like, I know what the game is saying is there, but I cannot figure out how to achieve it.
Wow.
So I like tried to like hint my way to it, like, hey, getting on the internet saying like, I'm here, what's next?
Right,
And
right.
like it's a slippery slope, because I was like, okay, like I was kind of thinking that, and then like you keep reading and you're like, okay, well now I know the whole thing.
Right.
So it's hard to say what that means for me in terms of like, do I want to go and complete all the stuff that's there? But I need you to play this game. If you play no other game this year, like I want you to play Tunic and experience it.
Well, I'm open now. I'm kind of waiting to see what that next game is. So it might be Tunic. It might end up being Tunic. Yeah.
I think you'll really enjoy it.
Yeah. I from the sound of it, I definitely will. So I guess maybe our approach to guides and walkthroughs might be a future mission report here. Yeah.
Sure. So yeah, there's so much to say about this game, and I kind of hinted to you, maybe we should do a whole episode on Tunic if you enjoy the game as much as I have. Because I think there's
well, if I play through it, we should do a whole episode regardless of whether I enjoy it or not. Because sometimes like differing opinions are good to have.
That's true.
Yeah,
totally. There's no way to talk about this game without spoiling things, and that's why I have to kind of just tiptoe around anything.
Yeah.
Just experience the game. Seriously.
Yeah. I think our last single game episode was Inscription, right?
Yes, it was.
Which is another game you can't really say much about without spoiling.
And those elements are like, some of those elements, I should say, are present in Tunic. Mm-hmm. I think Tunic, it's hard to say like what kind of game it is, but I would say Legend of Zelda, the original, there's a lot of influence there. There's a game called Fez that I never played, but
love Fez. Yeah.
People kind of say that there are elements present in both of those games. So,
cool.
Yeah, I am just like bursting at the seams wanting to say every little thing about it. And I think I can be the hint guide to you. Like if you get stuck, I can say like enough to not tell you, but say like, what did you look at this over here?
Right.
So I'm excited.
Very cool. So what's next? Did you start anything else or?
So I did purchase Disco Elysium for Steam, and because you were telling me about it, and I was like, yeah, I mean, definitely, it's $40. That's a lot of money. And then I went on Steam, and it's like the lowest it's ever been at $13. So why not get it at that price?
Definitely.
So I haven't decided if I'm going to wait for my Steam Deck or just get started, because I could be waiting many more months for a Steam Deck. So I'll probably just go ahead and start it because I don't have anything else really on my plate.
And then we could do our Disco Elysium episode that I talked about a year ago.
That's right.
I'll play through that. I'll play through.
I mean, I still owe you a Demon Souls episode too. So
yeah, no biggie.
Yeah, but I think we have done our pre-flight checklist. So why don't we launch in to our discussion this month, our mission report, which is there's a lot of games out there, and sometimes what is a gamer to do with so many games? And we're going to talk about some strategies there. So let's get right to it.
Let's do it.
All right, Ryan. So we all suffer from the fact that there are too many games out there. You and I are people who like to play anything and everything. We are not Call of Duty people who buy one game a year. We tend to buy every game or try to experience as many games as we can.
Yes.
And with the rise of subscription-based services, some of which are coming out soon, it seems like there really are too many games, and we need to figure out what to do about that.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. It's probably something that, I mean, I would think most gamers would have a problem with. We do have listener responses we'll be getting to later in the show. And I don't know, man. I think our listeners are more squared away than I am. That's for sure. Because like I hear the responses and it's like, really? Like I thought it was a natural thing for all gamers to just feel that anxiety and feel overwhelmed at times when they look at the games they missed, right?
Right.
It's something that happens constantly to me. Now I finished Elden Ring, and I'll probably spend some time figuring out what to do about it. I really do want to have a second playthrough of Disco Elysium, but like, how can I justify that when I just got this like emulation machine, but now PlayStation plus 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 is coming out, and I got Game Pass sitting there with Tunic that I haven't touched. And new games coming every week. It's overwhelming. I personally think it's overwhelming, and it's not an easy thing for me to get a grasp on.
Yeah. And there are times, I mean, this is one of the first points we have listed here is, sometimes you are playing too much, and then you kind of get stuck in a rut, and you feel like, well, nothing's really striking right now. And gosh, that is not the case right now. We have so many like stellar masterpieces coming out, and I still want to like play Tiny Tina and put some time into that, even though I know it's like that's not the top tier experience as some of the other games, but like I still want to dive into that world and shooty shoot sometimes.
I think you should because like, what do these people know about you who write these reviews, right? Maybe it's not top tier by today's standards, but maybe it is exactly that game you had fun with when Borderlands 2 came out, and it's a new one. So, what do these people know, right? And I think you bring up a good point with our consumption of media. It's hard sometimes to make that choice where, how can I play Tiny Tina's? It got mediocre reviews. There are games like Elden Ring, which people are saying it's a game of a lifetime. And man, that is whether people realize it or not, that does have an effect on how we see these games coming out. It's definitely something that I don't give reviews too much credit, but when I'm considering, okay, which game is worth my $60-$70, like, I definitely look at what the trend tends to be when it comes to reviews. So I understand you saying like, how can I spend my money on Tiny Tina when according to everybody, Elden Ring is a 10, right? Elden Ring is phenomenal, but it's tough. It's easy for me to say, not easy for me to do, but play what you enjoy. But there are, like you said, so many experiences coming out. How do you know what you'll enjoy? Especially when they're fresh experiences. Crazy times, man.
And talking about Tunic, not to bring it up again, but
okay.
So this is the problem that I have, where there is more for me to do, but is it going to be fun? Like I mentioned, not being smart enough to figure it out and having to look it up. And it's like, okay, well now I know what to do. And I just like need to like go through the paces to do it. And that might not necessarily be the fun part. I think I did the fun part. I did the part that I really wanted. It was amazing. And that might be my stopping point. I get that there's all these other things to do and it's absolutely brilliant. But if that's going to just be kind of a job, then I don't want to do that. Same thing happened with Death's Door. Like I beat that and then there's more to do. And I was like, oh yeah, like I'm so into this. I love this world. And then I never did it. And I just moved on to the next thing.
Yeah. As soon with Death's Door, I had the same reaction. It was because I heard there was one aspect of that post-game stuff that was frustrating. And as soon as I read that, I'm like, well, I'm not going through something frustrating right now. Like I could have a fresh experience. And how long did Tunic take you, just out of curiosity?
So I don't have a time count. I'm sure just I could look something like that up. Roughly, I would say probably 15, 20 hours.
See, now to me, I'm looking forward to that because I had not the exact same experience, but very similar feelings about Elden Ring. 71 hours. This game is phenomenal, but 71 hours of a phenomenal Souls game, that's my fill, I think. Yeah. Like I said, there are probably 100 hours of content waiting for me if I kept playing. But 71 hours of that specific type of gameplay. I'm good. Like I've hit the point where it's diminishing returns. If I go back to that game, it's not going to be as fun as those first 20 hours. I mean, to be honest, the last 5 were like, I just want to get through this game now. I'm having a great time, but like, let's go. Like, let's proceed with the story. I just want to beat it. I want to like move on. And it's no knock on the quality of the title, but like, I got that backlog bearing down on me, man. It is there. It is there. And it's not a conscious thought all the time, but you hear about, I hear from you. I hear from other people, man, you got to play Tunic. Oh, you got to play Horizon Forbidden West. And, we converse with other gamers. So, Persona, we had just had All Day I Play Radio on last week, Persona. And then, I hear people talk. Then there was an episode on Persona 5 by a friend of the show, Dave, at Tales from the Backlog. And it's like, I really should play Persona. That's 120 hours a game. What am I thinking wanting to play Persona? Like, yes, I want to knock it off my backlog, but look at all the other games I'd miss in the meantime. It's daunting. It's daunting. And so when people express themselves, and I'm not saying they're incorrect, but when they express themselves about backlogs and say like, yeah, it's not that big of a deal, I think I'm broken. I feel like there's something wrong with me because
we experience that FOMO a lot. And so not so much FOMO, like that kind of implies a here and now, like this is the game of the moment. I am looking forward to Disco Elysium, which like I feel like that moment has passed, but people still
that's
have high praise for it.
Evergreen. For sure it is. No, like
but
I don't use that term lightly.
Zeitgeist, you know?
Yeah. But I don't use that term lightly. Like that game it is timeless. I will use that word correctly in saying it's timeless.
Yeah.
But I get what you're saying. Like, and that's the biggest thing with my emulation machine, going back and playing older titles. There are some I really want to go back to. I want to go back to the original Final Fantasy VII. I want to go back to Final Fantasy IX. And like, I have those now, but realistically, am I going to go back and experience those in their entirety right now? I am very much of the mind that games now are better than games 15 years ago. And I want to play games that come out now because I just think there's a gap there in quality. And maybe not when it comes to things like storytelling, but assuredly, not universally, but definitely for the most part, there's a gap there when it comes to gameplay. There's a huge gap when it comes to graphics. The overall experience and package of what you get from well-made games now. I will use the term well-made games today because there are a lot of like trash games are miles beyond older games. And I know there are a lot of retro gamers out there that would disagree with me, but like, yeah, it's hard. It's hard to go back to those games sometimes.
Well, even just things like quality of life, like having to save at a certain point, that just doesn't fit into our lives at this point. We need to have that standby mode or just like Nintendo Switch where you can turn it off and walk away and pick it up for 5 minutes.
Right. With quality of life, we like game developers learned how to make better games, more accessible games, right? Easier to use games. And that does matter when you approach a backlog.
Yeah. I will say I am not a patient gamer in the definition of that. I would love to be because it's cheaper and you get to the point where the game is stable. I remember thinking like, oh man, I want to play Horizon on PC. And then it came out and it was just garbage. It was, you couldn't play it. There were so many bugs that were out there. And I really do get swept up in the hype on some of these things. And I feel like a game like Tunic, that there is like merit to that. And there's a discussion around it. And that is a game that, I mean, God, it's only been out for a few weeks, but it's been figured out. But there was that beginning where things weren't figured out and people were having theories about what was going on. And I think that's just so fun to be caught up in sometimes. And even with Elden Ring, that is like this is the longest I've ever had a game just like stay in the mind share. And that wave just seems to be like ever cascading. And people are like, well, Breath of the Wild is going to come out and then kind of throw things out of disarray. And well, that's not happening anymore. So like Elden Ring continues to be like the game that people are going to be talking about for probably for the rest of this year. So,
unless God of War 2 drops.
Yeah, but I feel like
I can't say God of War 2, God of War Ragnarok, God of War 5, right?
I feel like that's going to be late, if anything.
Yeah.
And I mean, people will be talking about it then, certainly, but Elden Ring will have had, 7 months to take over.
Oh, yeah. 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 And I do feel like there's still a lot of people getting into that game right now.
Right.
But yeah, I just think it's really important too. you bring up Tunic, which I know it's a silly thing to say. I feel like I have less of an issue walking away from games on Game Pass when I spend money on games outside of like my monthly service fee.
Sure.
I want to justify that expenditure, right?
Right.
So say even if I didn't enjoy Elden Ring, which I did, I'm probably not going to put 71 hours into it, but I will keep playing longer than I want to because I'm like, man, I spent $60 on this. Like I got to get my money's worth out of it, right? It's a tough thing.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, that was...
But there is no, I'm sorry, not to interrupt you. No. There's no value for time ratio, right? Like I played Sifu for, I want to say 25 hours. Mm-hmm. I will probably go back to that at some point, but like, did I get my money's worth out of that game? Yes, because it was an entire experience within that 25 hours, right?
Right. I think it's silly for people to put like, well, I need to get X number of hours out of my $60 that I put in.
Yeah, right. It's not about the hour count. It is about the enjoyment. And if a game is like an Assassin's Creed where it's this big daunting world, hundreds and hundreds of hours, like I'll probably play it for 40 hours to try to justify buying it, even if I'm not enjoying it, right? But
and I'm one of those weirdos who buys only digital. So when I'm locked in, I am locked in, and nobody's going to be able to, I can't get any money for that. It's over. Yeah. So I totally feel you on that. And that's where it is hard for me to say like, okay, well, Elden Ring's there, but it's $60, mm-hmm. or I could play Tunic, which is like on my computer right this second. Mm-hmm. So it's tough.
And that's the big thing too. Like, when you approach your backlog, it's timing of when to purchase a game, especially with backlogs, because games go on sale. Elden Ring will go on sale. Sekiro did. Every single Dark Souls game is super cheap compared to its original price now.
Sure.
And Elden Ring, no doubt, will follow the same formula. But there are games that won't. There's a game that came out that I played the demo of and I really enjoyed. And would I play more? Yeah, especially because my kid's favorite color is pink. Okay. And like, his favorite Pokemon's Jigglypuff, and he loved watching me play the Kirby demo, right?
Sure.
So, but
see, that's another game that's like, we haven't even mentioned it, but that's another like huge game that just came out.
Great reviews. Yeah, I played the demo, and he sat on the couch next to me the whole time, and he loved watching me play. He was like, "Do this thing, go do that thing, Daddy. Like, do that," and that is just a cool thing to share with my son.
Right.
That's a memory like I will always have because of Kirby, and it's only the demo. And that's the thing when you're approaching your backlog, there are games with Nintendo involved that will never get cheaper.
Oh yeah. Right? That game is staying $60 for its lifetime.
You can wait on Elden Ring and get it for $40 in a few months. Probably get it for under 20 in a few years.
Sure.
Never going to happen with Kirby ever. Nope. The most you'll ever get it is 35% off. That is like the deepest cut Nintendo gives to any of their games.
It's crazy.
It is crazy because I'd probably enjoy the entire game of Kirby, but I am not ready to drop $60 on another game right now.
Right.
I'm ready to play Tunic on Game Pass. Right?
Exactly. So do we want to talk about PlayStation at all?
Yeah. I think.
Do you want to dive into that?
Yes, absolutely. I do. I do want to say, I think a few people have talked about it, and we've mentioned it before too. This is it. This is what's happening. It is the era of the service, and I am seriously questioning if I stop buying new titles. And I'm not just saying that because PS just got announced, and it's the new hotness. Like, I'm saying that because it is genuinely making me question this backlog and value issue, right? If I spend $10 a month, right, $120 a year for the highest tier of PS Plus and Now, God, I don't even know what they're calling it, but PS Plus Premier, I think, is the top tier, right?
I don't know why they didn't do bronze, silver, and
I don't know,
or like silver,
platinum,
like,
right?
Do
your
your
trophies,
thing. Yeah. Because I don't know, what is Premier better than
deluxe.
Deluxe? Yeah, like what?
It's implied, obviously. No, I'm kidding. I'm totally joking. Like, I guess some people think so, right?
Right.
So yeah, for the top tier of that, it's 100. Obviously, the annual payment is the best value, right? And that's how they do their current service now too. It's if you pay upfront for the year, you get the best value. So $10 a month, $120 for the year for the top tier, and you will get PS3, PS2, and PS1. And according to them, they have a pretty healthy catalog coming. They said there is, like, every developer is on board with it, which, if that's true, that's huge. I mean, that is like, think of all the games that came out on PS2. That library alone, and I'm not saying they will have the entire library, but that is, even if they have half of it, even if they have a quarter of it, that's tremendous. So then you have, obviously the PS1 games, and you could download those and play them locally if you have the service. PS3, however, emulation, right? Because that's a real hard nut to crack, even for Sony.
I think the PS3 just kind of fell from the heavens, and they were like, this is our console, we don't know how it works.
And so the service won't include day ones, and a lot of people were disappointed with that, but I think at the annual value, it's $5 cheaper than Game Pass a month. Game Pass, what is it, Ultimate, is that what they call it? Where you get the day ones on Ultimate, right? So
you get day ones no matter what.
Oh, really?
Thing you have.
So even for $10 a month, you get.
So Ultimate just means you can play on more things. Like Ultimate gives you PC and cloud, whereas the lesser tier is just Xbox. That's the only difference.
Okay, so same price as Game Pass with no day ones, basically.
Right.
So I still don't think it's a bad value. I do think that it is a good service along with Game Pass. I don't think it is one that I mean, granted, if I only had a PlayStation, I'd probably get it. Right. But along with Game Pass and our NSO expansion pass, it is seriously making me think, if the only thing that will keep me buying new games outside of services is FOMO, right? Like, there's no reason why I can't just have these three services and wait until the game I want hits one of them, because chances are it would, outside of like Nintendo first party titles.
Well, we don't know what Sony's going to do. Like they have said, what, Returnal is one of the
Death Stranding, which sure. Don't even say sure. This is my opportunity to play it.
But that's like a PS4 game. I would categorize that as a PS4 game.
So is God of War, which is another game they announced.
Yeah, but that's been part of like PlayStation Now. I'm talking about, what are the PS5 exclusive games that are coming to their new service.
Right.
And I feel like Ragnarok is going to take minimum 3 years before that ever hits the service.
Do you think so?
I think so, man. I think they're going to, their whole plan is to put games on PlayStation 5. When it slows down, they're going to put it on PC. When that slows down, that's when it goes to.
Do you think
plus?
Do you think it'd be interesting to see how long it took the God of War to go to PS Now. I don't know if it was 3 years. I think it might have been 2, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, I don't know.
And still, like, you're right. Am I going to wait 2 years to play God of War Ragnarok? Because
there's no way.
Well, I'd know everything. I guarantee you I would know everything about it before those 2 years are up. Just from what I see on the daily, like, being online, right? Living online. So it's a good point.
That's the thing for me.
Bring up a good point. I guess screw the services. I'm buying
this does nothing for me. This does absolutely nothing for me. Number one, I'm not a PlayStation Plus subscriber anyway. I bought 1 month to play Returnal with you. And
we got to do it again, by the way.
I know, yeah.
Wait, did we even mention that? We didn't even mention that. Did we mention it last week? We did mention it last week. Okay, never mind.
So I wasn't a subscriber, and I don't care about the classic games on this service.
Stop.
If I want to play those, I have the ability in a million other ways.
Fair.
So that option is always there. I'm not going to pay money to experience that. I think it's probably going to be the best and easiest way to experience it. And for someone who would like, if you didn't play these games, then that's a great value. That is a absolutely fantastic value. There's no denying that. And so it really comes down to the games that are new, the PS5. That's all I would care about. Yeah. What PS5 games are coming? Yeah. If I can like not buy Demon Souls and not buy, I don't know what other PS5 exclusive that has been out that I haven't bought.
Kena.
Yeah, totally. If those two games came like in the, whatever next round, then I would consider it.
Right.
But at this point, no, I'm just gonna buy the ones that I want. Yeah. Because I need to have it day one for Ragnarok.
You bring up an interesting argument for sure, and I it is what would stop me from being service only. But as soon as PlayStation adopts day ones or does something like that, I'm out, I'm done. Like that's it. That's all I need.
Oh yeah.
You know,
it's not going to happen because I agree. I mean, and it shouldn't be. Yeah. Based on the numbers that they're doing.
Oh yeah. What would it take for those older titles? Like let's just say older, 1 year old PS5 exclusives, a la Kena and what was the other one we mentioned?
Demon Souls. I mean, Returnal is a big one that like if I didn't buy that one, I would kind of consider it at this point.
So would it take like 3 of those titles to be like, okay, maybe? Would it take 4, 5, 6?
See, it's hard because I feel like I still want to just buy them because they go away. With Xbox, true. I don't really care. Like
that's weird.
Well, that's the thing, man. Like Halo, like you beat it, and then the multiplayer is free, so you don't need anything there. Yeah. I play everything on PC, so the multiplayer is free no matter what.
Look, hold on, and I'm gonna just stop you.
Yeah,
and we're gonna talk about something else for a second.
Okay.
Where was Halo on your Game of the Year list, and how do you feel about that now?
I love Halo. I don't have time. This is the problem, dude.
Okay.
I would be playing Halo Infinite multiplayer all the time if I didn't have other games that are just getting in the way.
Right.
Seriously. Like
I agree. I agree.
I want to play Satisfactory still. Like I have so many games that are just like there.
I agree.
That I'm going to play Satisfactory on the Steam Deck. That's one of the things that I'm going to do.
Mm-hmm. I had a great time. Crazy. I had a great time playing Halo Online when I was playing with people I knew.
Right.
So, which was rare. It's a big reason I don't play it anymore. But yeah, good point.
Dude, like Splitgate, I could play a game of Splitgate right now and have a great time.
The BFB, I love that thing. That was so much fun.
But this is the problem, man. There's the games outweigh the time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and
we just don't have it. We don't have the time.
No, it's true. It's I think it was actually Rick. Our friend of the show, Rick from Pixel Project Radio, who said it's your most valuable asset.
Yes.
Right. So it's really like the one thing you really have to be careful about how you use it. And it plays into this backlog. Absolutely. About prioritizing what you want to play. And it's amazing to me that people, I mean, I know I'm not the only one who has 10 games that came out in the last 3 years alone. More than 10 games, probably.
Dude, there's 10 games in the last month.
Right. That you want to play, right? That you want to. Like, it's incredible to me that people cannot think about that when they're choosing the next game to play. It's always something that pops in my head. Always. Right. Like, what do I do? And then something like, we're talking about the PS Plus news. Another news story is Breath of the Wild 2 got delayed, and I swear it is a sign of the times, but it is a sign of the times that was universally the reaction. I swear I did not see a single person upset about this.
Right.
Everybody was either like, saw this coming, predicted this, or they were like, whew.
Like, sigh of relief.
Yeah. And like that right there shows you that we all have an issue with our backlog right now. Right. Any person playing video games has an issue with their backlog right now when a game that people have been looking forward to for 5+ years gets delayed and we're like, oh, we all breathe a collective sigh of relief, right?
I don't even know if my Switch will work by the time this game comes out.
Well, it's cool because we know it's going to release with the new Switch model. I know. It's in my head canon right now. It's happening. it'll bridge that gap again.
Should we dive into some of these listener responses?
Yeah. First, I also want to say, then another thing that plays into backlogs here is you have announcements 6 years before games come out. So you're just waiting for this game for 6 years. And then when Tunic's a great example. Even bigger on the grand scheme of sales is Witcher 4, right? Just announced, and like probably not coming out for half a decade minimum. But people are now, it's living in your mind, dude. If you love The Witcher 3, this lives in your mind.
If you hated Cyberpunk, right, we've got the game for you coming out.
Right. Well, they switched engines too to Unreal, which is the biggest news. I think that's really why they dropped this news, because they're like, look, like we know there's a problem with our Red engine. Now we're using Unreal 5.
Sure.
But yeah, 5 years from now, minimum, guarantee you, this game's coming out. But now you have to think about it. And all that hype is going to build up over the next 5 years because you're going to get images. You're going to get little snippets, little leaks. You're going to start getting trailers and real hype. And by the time this game comes out, please, Cyberpunk will be a distant memory. Mark my words. People will be so hyped for this game coming out. Before it even drops, they'll think, this is the turnaround for CD Projekt Red. Like, you'll see. Boom. It's going to sell millions of copies in the first month. It's going to be that 100+ hour game but this is why our backlogs exist before games even come out now. Our backlogs grow before games are even dropped, right? Tunic was one. Indie game fans were looking forward to this game for years too. Your backlog grew before. Yeah. Like
the moment I saw images of it way back when.
Yeah. So that means your backlog grew bigger before a game even came out.
That's right.
How do people deal with that?
Yeah.
Anyway,
just imagine when Activision Blizzard enters the game sphere or Game Pass games.
I was like, what do you mean? Like, they've been making games for quite some time. Yeah.
But that's just like, all right, here's like 10 powerhouse franchises to just like do whatever.
Can't believe, yeah. It is funny to think of it as a problem. But like, it is a problem, right? It is a problem. Whether or not it is we're living in a time of incredible games, countless incredible games. It's a problem like that. Yeah, it is a good problem to have, right? The freedom of choice is excellent, but man, it's daunting too. Analysis paralysis.
Yeah.
Look at Game Pass. Stare at it.
We can all agree that NSO is the worst service. Except it's the best service because it gives you the opportunity to play online win-back covert operations,
which we haven't done yet. We haven't done yet. No. Except you can't do voice chat. You have to have a Discord call going at the same time.
I mean, that's fine.
That's fine too. But like, really, they should come on. Like, yeah. You can make parties on every other console.
Come on, get with 2002, man.
Right? I know. It's so funny, dude. Nintendo. Silly Nintendo.
Yep.
Yeah.
Here's $80.
Right. So, we'll get into the listener responses. Are there any tips you want to give first on your personal approach to handling your backlog or FOMO?
Yeah. I mean, I would say you definitely have to follow your heart. Listen to your heart. Because I feel like you need to play what is scratching whatever itch you have. If you're not into a Soulsborne right now, don't play Elden Ring. Play whatever that is. Like if you want to play an old game, go ahead and play an old game.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any hard and fast rules. You just need to do what's right for you. If you don't want to play video games right now, then don't play them. I've come across that before where I'm like, there's good games, but I don't really want to play anything. Just like do a different hobby at that point, and that's completely valid. And your level of games will come back in due time.
Yeah.
Do you have anything specific?
No, I take what we say with a grain of salt, because Brian is saying listen to your heart, yet saying he can't play Tiny Tina's Wonderland. So just throwing that out there. Not to call you out, Brian. I'm sorry. Far be it from me to give anyone advice. I have talked all episode about how much of a problem I have with my backlog, but I think going with your gut is a big part of it. Don't talk yourself into playing a game you are sure you won't enjoy. I've been very vocal about saying Elden Ring is a Souls game. If you don't like that combat, you may not like this game. And it's probably the same thing for Horizon Forbidden West. There's probably a lot of positives for the game. It's a new generation. But if you didn't enjoy the first and you didn't, yeah, or like
avoid it if you did not like the first one.
Would you? So having not played the game, it's difficult for me to say. But if it's like an Assassin's Creed, Ubisoft type open world, then like
so far from an Assassin's
that's good.
Creed
That's
game.
good. Then I won't go there. Then
I hate. That's like. I hate that.
No, I get it. You're cool. No, you're cool. Like that's good. That's good. I haven't played it, man. Don't like
No, I know. But so so my Assassin's Creed game that comes to mind is like Black Flag.
Okay.
And that is that just dump of things on the map. And Horizon has a map and there are icons, but like I looked at the walkthrough of what there is. There's like 10 main quests. There's like 20 side quests. There's not that much that the things in the map are like the different animals that are out there. So anyway.
No, I get what you're saying. I do think, going with your gut is the biggest piece of advice that I would give is don't talk yourself into getting a game because other people tell you it's good.
Right.
I know what I like. I tend to flock towards those games. When I bought Returnal, it was maybe the last game I took a chance on because I didn't know what it was like. There wasn't a lot of information about it.
Right.
Really happy I did, but like I also was pretty sure I'd enjoy it.
Sure.
As far as everything else, like they all looked like games that were up my alley. And I think that really helped me make my decisions. I didn't buy Horizon Forbidden West. Like I had that choice between that and Elden Ring, but like I knew which one was going to be for me, just based off my love for prior FromSoft games. And I think that's something that all people need to weigh your choice, but yeah, don't listen to me. I'm a nut. Like my backlog is daunting and ever present. But we did ask our listeners. This is the question posed to them. With the bombardment of nonstop gaming releases, how do you handle your backlog? Do you get overwhelmed by it or experience FOMO? And do you mind if I read this one?
Yeah.
Sure. Cool.
Go ahead. Take it away.
Andrew, from your friendly neighborhood gamers. Actually, Andrew was a huge help in getting us set up on TikTok. He posted an awesome tutorial to YouTube about how to use Canva to create TikTok templates, which I really helped us out. We're on TikTok now. So there you have it. But seriously, like, thank you for that. But he responds, I fall back on it when I'm in a gaming slump or when new releases don't interest me. But typically, I play what I want to play. I might play Elden Ring all year and not feel bad about it, which that's amazing to me. This is what I mean. That's once again, Andrew. Thank you for responding. Yeah, like I alluded to earlier in the episode, our listeners are so much more squared away than I am when it comes to this sort of thing, because everybody you'll see. But take Andrew's response as an example. The fact that he's like, I might play Elden Ring all year and not feel bad about it. Like, first of all, I'm very happy that you're still enjoying the game that much and want to continue playing it. That's incredible. But the ability to shut that part of your brain off and turn your back to all those things and not think about them, that's a difficult thing to do, man. Good job. Good job.
Patient gamer right there.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So Dave from Tales from the Backlog had something to say too. This is a lengthy one.
It is. I like the lengthy one.
Yeah. All right. So he says, I have a big backlog of games. I mean, that's his whole thing. It's the backlog.
Imagine that. Tales from the Backlog has a big backlog of games. Who'd have thought?
I have a big backlog of games through purchases, charity bundles. Oh, geez. Side note, that Ukraine bundle, that Humble bundle was doing.
Yeah.
Satisfactory was the top build one. And oh my gosh, what a good deal for people who may have gotten that.
Yeah, and you're obviously contributing towards a very worthy cause.
Exactly.
I don't think we've actually brought up Ukraine on the show, but yeah, we definitely stand with Ukraine on this and feel for everybody there.
Absolutely. Charity bundles and bunnies, emulators, etc. Large enough that if I never bought a game again, I'd always have things to play. Dave continues. So it's helpful to stop thinking about it as a backlog that you have to clear and more of a library. Ooh, I like that. Now, instead of hundreds of games in a queue, I have hundreds of games to pick from, whatever mood I'm in, whatever kind of experience I want. And that's a cool feeling. Yeah. I totally like that. That's a great way to look at it. I can't look at my games as a library physically,
right?
Because of my digital library. But
no, it's the same thing for me. I know he has more to say here.
He has more. Yeah. Did you want to respond to any of those points?
I do with the library thing. I agree. I think that is as far as the mental state to be in with a backlog, that is probably the best one that you can be in. But when I look at Game Pass, and when I look at my emulation machine, it's not a library. It's not books on a shelf. It is lists that I have to scroll through nonstop, right? And I see in one given section, I see 5 games I want to play, and it's oh yeah, and I can't think of it that way. But hey, Dave, awesome dude.
People are healthier than we are, Ryan. That's very clear.
I have no doubt.
But Dave does also say it's kind of a bummer that I don't have enough time to play all the stuff I want to play, looking at this JRPG backlog, but I don't stress about completing this. And if I'm feeling FOMO about a new game that seems cool, like Elden Ring or something, no worries about buying it to satisfy my curiosity. The other stuff will be there when I'm done. Very, very healthy.
Very healthy. Extremely healthy.
Hard for me to be like that.
Yeah, dude, look at our listeners. Hold on. First of all, we are adults who handle our responsibilities well. Our listeners are the same thing, but why don't we have our lives together like they do? Why do I honestly feel like this one aspect of my life is in complete disarray constantly? But then you have a response like Dave's where it's oh, this is very easy for me. And I actually have the perfect solution.
I have the perfect solution too, and it's buying a Steam Deck so that I can play in more places.
Right? Sleep, whatever. But I do agree with this point on FOMO and buying day ones. It's something I didn't do for a big chunk of my gaming career till recently.
Dude, this has always been how I've been.
Well, I don't regret it. I don't regret buying day ones anymore. I just don't. I've also had a really good run of day ones I've purchased, so maybe that's why. But yeah, no worries. That's my focus now. And that is the time when it's easy for me to shut off and focus on what I'm playing.
Sure.
Yeah.
Do you want to read Keith's?
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Yes. Friend of the show, Keith from the main quest, my man. Love that guy, dude. So he says, this is how he deals with them. Buys what he wants and plays one at a time. There's no rush to get to my backlog. The games aren't going anywhere and there's plenty of time to get to them. Yeah. This is just another example of somebody who has their stuff together, Well,
so this is a really good point. I definitely do the play one at a time as much as possible because number one, it's hard to switch control schemes. Even just jumping into Returnal with you, gosh. I was having trouble breaking from Horizon, even though a lot of the buttons are the same.
Right.
The movement is vastly different between the two games.
No, I could tell you were struggling.
Yeah,
because I had to carry you, dude. I had to carry you, buddy. No big deal. Gotcha, Brian. But yeah, so the whole right, you said like focusing on one game at a time. I do the same. But it goes back to what Dave said, because he said don't stress about completing it, and that's where I struggle. That is where I tend to struggle. Like if I'm playing one game at a time, I'm like, I don't always do it, and I do walk away from games, but I do try to approach it with the mentality of like, I'm going to get through this game. Like I have to get it off my backlog, where in reality, I should shift that perspective to thinking I'm playing it and getting the enjoyment I want to out of it. And when that's done, it should be off my backlog. Like I got what I wanted out of it, so it should be off my backlog. I shouldn't have to feel like I need to go back to it. Right.
Right.
Yeah.
I think one aspect that's difficult to kind of come back to games is games with like very advanced control schemes. So like I feel like Elden Ring probably falls into this category. Horizon definitely, like there's a lot of different button combinations that you can perform, and you can kind of lose the thread on that if you take too long of a break between things. So I think more games should have like, hey, here's a tutorial in case you haven't played in a while.
Right.
Like here's how to jump and do this.
Oh, absolutely.
Whatever.
I mean, that is almost like walking back into the middle of a game and trying to remember where you are and what you have to do can be like, might as well restart material.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, friend of the show, Eric from the Unlockables and Side Questing podcasts, he has this to say. I normally just focus on what I'm playing at the time and also already have the next one I'm going to play picked out. So I'm only ever worrying about a few games at one time to manage the stress. Yeah. I mean, definitely. I think I've listed like 5 games that I want to play in the next week that I need to settle down.
Another example of our friends having their stuff together more than we do. But Rick, our friend of the show, Rick from Pixel Project Radio, actually had a response to Eric's tweet where he said he's getting better about that. His problem in 2021 was that he would start too many games, books, TV shows at once and feel flustered when I was watching one and falling behind in another. Just no good. And I agree. That can be real. And that's the other thing. Like, we're not even talking about other media. We're not even discussing that. But yeah, the Halo show dropped. Have you watched it?
Nope.
Yeah. Moon Knight just came out today. I haven't seen it yet, and I don't know when I'll get to it.
All the Marvel shit. Like I watched
that's a
Loki,
backlog,
and then
isn't it?
that I mean, well,
if
I
you
don't
want
know.
to.
The further we get from it, the less I care, honestly.
Yeah.
Like it was a struggle to even watch Spider-Man just because I was like, I mean, I want to watch it, but I don't know. I missed so many things at this point.
Right. I got you. I don't feel like they really played into any of them though in that movie. But anyway, no, I agree. Like, especially when you consider other media like books too, it happens with podcasts, for crying out loud. Like, there's only so much time in the day, and I'm not listening to podcasts all day. So yeah, I can't listen to everybody, man. It's tough,
Well, that's the thing about other media. Some other media is that I can listen to an audiobook, for instance, when I'm driving, doing the dishes. I can't play, like, you have to sit down and play a video game. It requires your entire focus, and that makes it hard sometimes.
Yeah, it does. So Rick, also a friend of the show, Rick, good friend of the show, recent guest, Rick from Pixel.
Are we going to say enemy of the show for any of the people coming up?
Man, if there was, I might, can I read the next one?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I don't want to spoil what I'm going to say here, but yeah, so he does have his own response to this, and he says, FOMO doesn't hit me much anymore. I've learned that I'd much rather enjoy each game at my own pace, not rush through whatever is hot and feel anxious about it. There's more awesome stuff than we'll ever have time to get to. That's valuable words.
Yes.
So we may as well enjoy what we can deeply. Case in point, I'm playing Xenogears for the first time in 2022, despite it releasing in 1998! Exclamation point. And he goes on to eloquently say, art don't go nowhere. Which I agree with. Like, he brings up a valuable point. Art doesn't go anywhere.
Right.
Gosh, and I wish, I love that he has that feeling, Would I play a 1998 JRPG right now? Probably not. But I guess that makes my backlog more manageable, right?
Right.
Although I did just talk about playing earlier Final Fantasy, so maybe I would. Who knows?
Yeah, I think you're crazy for saying that.
Yeah, I am crazy for saying that. Like, that was a clutch era for JRPGs. Like, absolutely, you know. But yeah, it's good to have that mentality that we will honestly never get to it. Our backlog will be there forever, and we need to get comfortable with that fact. I agree. So, enemy of the show. That's the next one. Enemy of the show, Mikey from Big Drink Energy. Talking to you, Mikey. No, he's a friend of the show. He's the one who put together the indie podcaster game night where I won that Mario Kart tournament.
Raffle stomped everyone.
Yeah, no, I did. I beat him actually too. And he later confessed that he only invited people he thought he could beat.
Oh, jeez.
Boy, you picked the wrong guy.
I mean, I was tired and had to go to the bathroom the whole time. So like I wasn't my best. That's my excuse.
Yeah, sure. I think you still got 6, so you know, or something, right? 10th maybe.
No, I got like 10th. No, I was bottom of the barrel for that one.
Yeah. Well, my wife got 3rd.
Yes, she did.
Yeah. Anyway, he says, and he is a friend of the show. I was kidding about the enemy thing, but I know he'll take it well. He'll also appreciate that I say I'm kidding because he messaged me and said, I love that you guys apologize for saying the most innocent things on your show. He said, we'll call someone like Mr. Poopy Diaper, and they'd be like, I'm kidding. I'm just messing with you. I'm like, that's pretty funny. Like we do tend to apologize a lot. So no, he is a genuine enemy of the show. And he says, I can't think of the last time I got the new It game on release, it in quotations. I'll get to it when I get to it. I'm trying to catch up on the PS3/4 games now, so I'm always about a generation behind. That's in this tweet. I'm assuming he laughs like that.
I mean, could you imagine waiting in the generation? It'd be so cheap. What games are like the blockbuster masterpieces,
right?
And you buy them, like you buy all that in the system for like $300 and you're done.
Dude, it gets even better than that. You know, the cult classics too, and you could get them like before they're highly valuable. Right. You know, if you wait that generation, like, you know, the games that like people say are really, really good, but nobody bought, and you can take advantage of that. Yeah, no, it's a really smart way to do it if you don't experience FOMO whatsoever.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Excuse me. We have one more here, or 2 more, I guess.
We actually have 3 more because somebody had messaged while we were recording, so I'm going to read that one from my phone.
All right. Okay. Well, Rob from the Level 1 Walkthrough podcast has this to say. I still have things from the PS3 era that I haven't gotten to, but I try to knock some of those off if I'm not feeling any newer games at the moment. I knew Elden Ring was going to be talked about a lot, so I had to finish Dying Light 2 and leave Horizon until I got done with Elden Ring. I assume ER is Elden Ring and not the ER.
Well, probably.
Not the
maybe the show.
Ring.
Maybe the show.
Oh, you know? Okay. Yeah. There's a lot of seasons to that show. There are.
That would be a hefty haul to watch that entire show. Yeah. George Clooney.
Young George Clooney.
Yeah. Was Noah Wiley on that too?
Yeah. Noah Wiley and that bald guy with glasses too.
Yeah. Dr. Green.
That's right.
I don't know the actor's name. Goose from Top Gun.
Nice.
Yeah.
Also, who did the music for ER? Someone important did the theme. I need to find that. But anyway.
Yeah. So this guy sounds like he's in the same boat as us. I like Rob a lot. Good dude on social media as well. I mean, I agree. Like, there are things from before the PS3 era that I haven't gotten to yet. And it's tough to kind of judge when to knock those off. And because there is a constant influx of newer things. It sounds like you made the right choice for you, though, by choosing Elden Ring and leaving Horizon. You made the right choice by me. And that's the important thing, Rob.
Oh, man. I'm going to have to fight for Horizon at the end of the year. I know that much. Maybe.
Do you mind if I just real quick read the one that wrote in while we were recording?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so Offshore Gamecast replied, definitely overwhelmed, especially feeling the need to play games at release for the podcast. And he goes on to say, Dylan, in the middle of 10 plus games because of it. And they're all from this year.
Ooh.
And this is kind of what we're saying. You had said there are 10 plus games from the last month, right? You just said that. And this is somebody who sounds like they're in the same boat as us. I hope in some way this episode's been beneficial, maybe from hearing people who have a better handle on the situation than I do. It's helped you kind of come to terms with the fact that, backlogs are going to be there, man. Don't feel too overwhelmed and pick your games for you. I understand there is, especially being like podcast creators or if you're a content creator of any kind, there is a push to play the game of the moment, right? You got to be talking about it. You have to be incorporating it into your current episodes or whatever you're putting out there. And I think I was going to say that I some people feel that way, but I think that's a pressure that we tend to manifest ourselves because there is no pressure there. Do what you want to do, play what you want to play. And
I mean, I talked about Satisfactory for like 6 episodes straight.
Yeah. And I agree. Like I still talk about Returnal, which in the grand scheme of things is not a popular game. But I love it. And I think that's what will come across better for the content you create, stuff you're passionate about, right? Being able to talk about things you enjoy will probably get a better response than like, I'm playing Elden Ring when it's really not your type of game, Right?
Is that going to be my reaction? I hope not.
I play Disco Elysium, man.
No, I will. Yeah.
Right,
that's next in the hopper for sure.
Good.
We got anything else?
We got one more. You're not reading it?
We got one more.
This is the best response. This is the best response.
Okay, everyone buckle up. Here we go. This one's a doozy.
Yeah.
From Retro Hangover. People handle their backlog?
Yeah.
That is good.
That is good. I've heard people handle. We've heard from a lot of people just now that handle their backlog apparently, but like,
right.
I don't know if they're telling the truth, man. I can't vouch for these guys.
Yeah. You know what we need to do is buy all these people more games.
Right.
and then see how they deal with that.
Just like gift them games. Yep. Yeah. How do you feel now, buddy? Stop. No.
All right. Well, I think we've covered the gamut of everything that there is a problem with, and the fact that there's too many games, and we're all going to die from being overwhelmed by that.
Yeah.
So
absolutely,
that's good. Well, without further ado, I think we get into our debrief.
Let's do it.
All right, Ryan.
Yes, Brian.
Do you have a debrief for me?
I do.
Debrief me.
Right here on camera? Oh, God. I'm so...
Patreon.com/
We don't even have one.
Stuff podcast.
We don't even have one. We don't even have a Patreon.
No, we don't. And I'm going to say we're not going to do that.
Yeah, I'm going to say we're not going to do that.
Yeah.
Like
maybe when we get to year 10, but
yeah. So I will say we do have social media sites you should 100% follow us on, though, if you don't already, on Instagram and Twitter. All the links will be in the show notes. And we have merch too. Like, hey, if you do want to support us, go buy yourself something nice, right? Like you get something out of it. It's not just giving us money. Like you get something out of it too.
Go buy yourself something nice.
Yeah, but forget about it. I don't know. But I will say, it's really important you follow us on social media now because we will shortly begin going on like a month here, 2 months maybe. We're going to begin our fest for our second annual birthday celebration, and we're going to be doing a giveaway. So the only way you can get in on that giveaway is by following us on social media. So that's right. Yeah, get a jump on that, man. But yes, my debrief is spring is here. Spring is pretty well. I mean, I guess not. It just snowed up north. My mom lives in New Jersey and she messaged me that it was snowing this week. But if you live in a state where spring is basically here, now is the perfect time to get started on your garden. So Brian knows we moved about 1.5 years ago. Before we moved, we did a huge renovation to our yard. We built multiple raised bed gardens, planted lots of plants, did entire landscaping, the whole nine, and then sold the house about a month or two after. Which you guys benefited. You got a lot of our plants, and I know you're no stranger to gardening. I know you have a beautiful backyard full of plants and vegetables and things you grow on your own.
But that's all my wife, not me. But yes,
it's awesome though.
I do dig holes for her.
See, same man. This is all my wife as well, but I do what I can to help because I think it is important to be outside and to do this sort of thing and to give something to nature and get something back for it.
It's great. It's a good workout.
It is.
You're outside, fresh air.
Absolutely. And it was daunting for me, maybe not as daunting as a backlog, but daunting for me to do it again after having done it for a home that we sold a few months afterwards. And I didn't do it the first year we lived in our new home because it was like, man, I don't want to go through all that again. Like I just did this to an entire house. But this is the year I was ready for it and I was looking forward to it. So as soon as my wife brought the idea up, I'm like, heck yes, let's do it.
Yeah.
And we built a few raised bed gardens. We have some plants going now, built a few trellises. I built a big teepee and we did some using branches I cut in my own yard and did some twine around it so the beans can grow up it. And it is just really nice to be outside, be physically active, and you're going to see the benefits of your actions if you have a garden. And I know not everybody lives in a house with a yard, but you could do it. Even it's easier to do it, I would say, if you live in an apartment and you happen to have a patio or a porch. You could easily
grow your own herbs,
right?
Inside, pretty easily.
Yeah. But not even just that. You can get a little raised bed for your patio, something along those lines. A little harder if you're in like a dorm situation in college, and I understand that. But they may have a community garden at your school. A lot of them do, or at your apartment complex. A few that I lived in had them, and I would just really recommend like getting out there, getting your hands in the dirt, and planting a few things and enjoying it. It's a rewarding process, especially when it bears fruit, and you're able to get that in return. Yeah, start a garden.
What is that tree that you have in the backyard? The massive tree.
That's a fiddle fig tree.
Fiddle fig.
Mm-hmm.
The thing is beautiful.
I love that tree. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
We actually last time you guys were here, we did a clipping of it and stuck it in a pot for you guys. And I don't think you ever took it with you. But
oh no!
But the clipping is doing really well. So next time you come, you can now take a better version of that clipping with you.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That is great. I recently purchased a leaf mulcher. An electric leaf mulcher where it's just like a vacuum for leaves. Cool. And it's just like I filled up like 6 bags of leaves in no time.
Man, I might have to get one.
It's cool. It's cool. And it came with an attachment where you can just put it over like a 55-gallon drum. Yeah. So it just like puts it all into the thing immediately.
Yeah. So if you do become a patron, you will get our bonus garden podcast once a month.
Gardening with Ryan and Brian.
That's right. Yeah, exactly. Got to switch it up, right?
Yep.
But yeah, that's my debrief, man. Go get your hands dirty. Yeah.
So my debrief, I didn't do much outside of beating 2 video games. But for one of those games, it was imperative, and I would suggest this to you if you so choose to tunic yourself. And that is to actually get yourself a little journal and write notes. And I know people have said this for Elden Ring.
Yeah. Well,
kind of funny.
Yeah.
Which is cool. I don't know if you had that problem with Elden Ring where you felt like you needed to kind of jot things down.
I felt like it never got overwhelming to track, but sure. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
Well, so Tunic does, again, there's nothing. It doesn't tell you anything. It doesn't track anything for you. And I think I would have been more interested in this endgame stuff if I had kind of a list of things that I found interesting on my travels. So I did kind of keep a little notebook as I was getting towards the end and saying like, okay, well, I know I want to check this out because I know I can do things. The game it's a pretty big world, and you traverse it in very specific ways. And sometimes it's difficult to. There's no map. Sorry, there is a map, but it's not like a map that is it's not like Horizon's map or Elden Ring's map where it's like you can interact with it.
Yeah.
It's just a piece of paper. But kind of writing down where points of interest are for your own self is a good thing to do. And I would say one of the things that you could do without spoiling anything is write down when you do see something that you're like, I have no idea what that is, but it looks interesting. Write down where you are, write down kind of a description of what it is, maybe draw a picture of it. And that will help you a lot.
So we're going like full Tolkien journal here.
Yes. Totally.
Like we're a hobbit.
That is a good way to look at it.
Yeah.
You'll thank yourself later, and you might save yourself from having to look things up in the future.
Very cool.
So, yeah.
Very cool. Good advice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, just to kind of go one step farther, get a journal anyway, even if it's not about video games, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have never had a journal myself, but I know for some people that's very therapeutic and kind of helps them organize their mind.
Yeah.
A friend of mine did that for kind of memory purposes. He would just like kind of write down his day. Like it was a paragraph at the most sometimes. And now he like has that from like a decade ago, and he can just be like, well, this is what we did on this date.
That's cool.
I can recall that. So
that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, those are all the games. There's way too many of them. We covered them all though. I'm glad to say we hit every single game. So
absolutely.
We do have a show for next week that I am pulling up now. And
Every
we'll be
time
able to tell you.
It's either you or me. I'm just like, yes, show. What's that?
Yes.
Let's pull up this calendar.
We will be talking about the top 10 games that deserve a remake/remaster.
Yeah.
And that'll be fun. And we're going to have a guest.
It's not going to be top 10 because we have a guest, but yes.
That's true. Yes. But Ben from Play Along Pod will be joining us. Bulletin Ben. I'm sorry. I missed that.
But you could just call him Ben.
Ben. Yes. Yeah, Bulletin Ben from the Play Along podcast will be joining us to decipher that and tell us what they think is the best.
Yeah. I don't know if Ben himself, Ben's aware he's going to be on the show. We've talked to him about that, but I don't know if he's aware that there might be some beef going down next week about Super Mario RPG, which I will be the intermediary between you two because I think you may have some stuff to talk it out with.
No.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Ben's a good dude though, so like I have no doubt it'll remain civilized.
Perfect.
Yeah. Well, I have doubts, but we'll see.
You have doubts about me. I can already tell.
I do have doubts about you. I think you're blinded by nostalgia a little bit.
I know.
But, yeah.
Probably.
Yeah.
Well, that'll be a fun show for sure. I love looking at remakes, remasters. I've played a lot of them. So we'll come up with some good lists for that one.
Yeah, absolutely.
But as always, we very much appreciate all our listeners and watchers. God, I did get the YouTube video up. I need to get that up.
No, it's okay. Hey, really, honestly, big special thanks to everybody who wrote in for the listener responses. We definitely appreciate it. We don't put that out often, but maybe we'll start doing that more. Really impressed by the amount of people that responded, and thank you all for that.
Yeah, we were really happy with that. Lots more to the discussion for sure. Mm-hmm. And a healthy outlook that Ryan and I both need.
Exactly.
But yeah, that's our mission report. And I think we will see you all next week. Take it easy.
Bye.
This week, are you suffering from FOMO? Do you frequently lament your backlog? Let me start over. That was
your backlog.
I know.
Right? I just see like the bat signal come out. Right? Exactly. I was thinking Elfman music too. That's great.